but you see the nonsense that's happening on a day-to-day basis, and you're like, yeah, that's not right. That's dumb. But what's going on with this? This doesn't make any sense. There's this line of demarcation for a lot of people, and I think that what happened Saturday will be a line of demarcation for even more people, because we haven't talked about this. We haven't been live since then. And before we get into all this insanity, I want to talk specifically about, this is a world event, not so much the politics of it, but talk about it from a world event perspective. And because I do think it's important that we do talk about this. And it's one of those things where, if this isn't for you, that's fine. That's cool. But I do think that you guys come to us to hear our thoughts on things. And, for us to just not talk about it, like a major world event, is something that I feel like we'd be doing you guys a disservice. But before we do, Blabs, you've pretty much said all you want to say about this when it comes to, on X. So, you're going to take a step back from the conversation, but just to kind of recap what Blabs tweeted out. That's from Darth Call. Says, if you find yourself excited at the prospect of a candidate you don't like getting assassinated, ask yourself the question, are we the baddies? And then you followed up with this right here. Says, what a difference. So with that said, this will be primarily myself and Flash having this conversation. So I think it's important. And I do want this to be obviously an open conversation, because there's 4 seats at this table. There's me, Blabs, Flash, and then you guys watching. But obviously this weekend was insane. It was a crazy event. We're still learning about everything that happened on Saturday. And I think this is one of those events where, when it comes to 9/11, where you were when it happened, right? I know exactly where I was. I can tell you exactly, literally where I was. I was in my car driving to school. I remember hearing it on the radio. I was listening to the radio and they were talking about it. And this will be a very similar situation. Flash, do you feel that way as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you doing when you heard all this?
Having dinner with my family.
Yeah.
Is that a pizza place?
Well, yeah, I was in Kansas City this weekend for a family reunion. And we were sitting down for dinner as well. And my phone starts blowing up. And generally I don't have my phone at dinner, but we're out at a restaurant. I just had it, in my pockets. My phone starts going off from family texts, and just kind of holy crap, what's happening? And like I said, I don't have X on my phone. I take pretty much all social media off my phone because it's just a sink for me. It's a time sink. It's a distraction on a day-to-day basis. So when I want to use social media, I physically come sit down here where we're at right now and post whatever it is from a computer as opposed to a phone. But this weekend was a little different because everything was materializing so quickly. And there's different perspectives of everything. But yeah, I mean, I definitely know exactly where I was. But to see the immediate response from this was really messy. And I said this earlier, I'm purposely not using terms because we're on YouTube, right? Because YouTube is known for censoring things. But the response to this was all over the place. We saw, this is coming from tweet you had, Flash. Grace Randolph, who is a movie reviewer over on X, she said this is getting insane in every possible way. I don't want to talk politics anymore, as this is getting very serious no matter what happened. And then, she could have just stopped right there, but then she continued to talk politics.
Yeah.
And said, no matter
deleted this too.
She did. Yes, yeah. She did. She later went on and deleted this after kind of what are you doing? Right. And then I thought probably one of the most insane takes over the weekend was David Jaffe and what was going on with him. Did you see this, Flash, with David Jaffe?
Yes, I did. I wasn't surprised by it.
I agree. And he has yet to delete it.
I think he tries to act like he's in the middle, but he's very disingenuous.
I can't see in any way, shape, or form where David Jaffe could be considered in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean,
He acts like he is, though. He tries to.
When you have a kid and you've done such a poor job parenting that your kid doesn't even want to be the sex it was born, like, I'm just saying, come on now. Like, and you embrace that. Come on. We've had David on the show before. We had a pretty good conversation, but that doesn't mean he's not just an absolute loony bin of insanity. So he came out, and the immediate response was he thought the whole thing was staged. And it's important to remember that somebody died. A father died, got shot in the head while just attending a rally for somebody that they like. So the idea of this whole thing being staged is, I mean, so off the wall crazy. But he came out and said, yes, I'm serious. That is all. This person says, yeah, let's stage getting shot in the ear. Right. And the idea of being shot in the ear, I have zero idea how people could potentially think this was a thing, that somebody is such a good shot that they could shoot him in the ear when in real time you can see him turn and narrowly miss getting hit.
It's the closest thing to a miracle that I think I've ever seen.
When you watch it
by an inch, just that it's wild.
Right. And I saw this tweet, and I think this really kind of puts it in perspective. This idea that, like, this is insane. This happens in, as it says, 5/100ths of a second. So I don't understand how anybody could potentially say this is staged. But David Jaffe continues. He says, yes, I'm serious. That seems odd. And Trump gonna Trump. He's a TV star and drama queen. And the Secret Service seems to have responded very weirdly post-shooting, which, like I said, I don't really want to get into it's the details of all this. I more so want to talk about the reaction from people on this. So I'm also serious that I would never want anyone to be shot or assassinated, no matter how much I dislike them. Two things can be true, but you can think that something can be staged, which
this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. People saying that this is staged. There's a man dead.
Right.
And two people, I think, still in critical condition, or are they better? I haven't seen anything on that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he voluntarily died to stage this. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Well, everyone's favorite social media Kotaku blogger came out, and you saw this a lot, where there was immediate reaction and then deletion of those posts. But the internet is forever, and Alyssa Mercante came out with trying to be super funny. The stormtrooper aiming, the Trump shooter revealed. Right, there we are. Obviously, once again, it being deleted down here. But she continued. Says, turns out guns are bad, and the current political climate is bad, and it's all bad. And why do we even bother? And then she goes into the Palestine thing, and it's like, there's a time and place for stuff like this, and that's the crazy thing about this, is the absolute tone deaf nature of this. I don't care if it's an assassination, an attempt on Trump. I don't care if it's an attempt on Biden. I don't care if it's an attempt on Kennedy. I don't care if it's an attempt on Mercante. There's a time and place for these types of comments. And that's not the time, man. And you saw this so much over the weekend. The idea of, well, if they just missed, or how could you miss? That is so unbelievably insane to me. That's the first thing that you thought. Like, I understand the idea of, hey, I want to be edgy, right? Go be edgy. Do your edginess. Great. But once again, time and place.
Do you want to pull up that GoFundMe for the families that got affected? It's at like $4 million. Wow. I think.
Well,
I donated to it earlier today.
Go ahead and continue with what you were saying though about this, like the idea of what you're saying about the family and the $4 million.
I think it's great, and it's sad. I'm sure these people would rather have their family back than $4 million, but it's something that helps. It's tragedy. And to see people celebrating it really fucking pisses me off. And it's the usual suspects, all of them out there, all these Hollywood people showing their true colors, like Jack Black out there. He had to have said it either Sunday or Saturday night, talking about don't miss next time.
Well,
total disregard for a dead man that died protecting his father. Something Jack Black will probably never be.
Well, here is Tenacious D, which once again, funny, right? But this certainly isn't. This is at their concert here.
Don't miss Trump next time.
So it actually wasn't Jack Black. It was Kyle, the other guy who said it, to be clear. So they're doing some sort of like birthday celebration. Listen to the applause.
He's still laughing and enjoying it. He's just as TDS crazy as everybody else. He was doing a big speech for Biden. This is the first time he came out and did anything when he was at that Biden fundraiser. He had that clip that went viral. Well, probably forced viral because they all control the algorithm. So they probably just pushed that clip.
It's the thing it's not that he said it, right? Once again, people going to be edgy, right? They're going to be edgy. It's once again, for me, it's the response to this, the crowd's response.
Trump next time.
Ha 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 ha. It's so funny. It's so funny that a person nearly died. And I think that's been the other thing about this is you've seen people respond, well, like he just got hit in the ear. Big deal. It's like, no. Once again, you're talking about a fraction of an inch.
They tried to kill him.
Yes. He just got hit in the ear. Big deal. Big deal. Like, once again, would you be saying the same thing? Flip it. If Joe Biden just got hit in the ear, would you be saying that? Or Kennedy, or Alyssa Mercante, or me, or anybody? He just got hit in the ear. Like, what? Does that make any sense to anybody at all? Now I'll say this. This one hit home, man. This one hit home for me. And this is courtesy of Keemstar. He said, I think it's important to screenshot these evil people. Every American, it's our duty. And once again, this is people trying to be edgy. And the reason why this one hit home is because I know this person. This comes from a guy named Adam Shub. He goes by Square Painter. And I've known Adam for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And I obviously haven't spoken to him in a long time. And, as things should be, right? Like we never discussed politics. So what Adam does, as his handle would indicate, is that he creates pixel art. Now, and I have some of his art, but realistically, it's other people's art that he recreates on a canvas, right? But he put this out. He said, "I'm voting for the bullet," and it's like,
who is that? Who is that guy? I showed that on Saturday, and I couldn't.
Yeah,
I don't know who that guy is.
He's an artist. He's an artist. Yeah, he's an artist who does pixel art. So, like I said, I've known him, talking to him many times. We had him out at at events and stuff, and it's just like here's a good example of like what he does on a day-to-day basis. This is kind of like what he commissions, right? So he makes like little pixel art. So, and you see, he's posting these things and he's getting destroyed from it. Just constant, from people on the side. But I understand the people's need to feel edgy and be the edgelord, but it's like you really time and place. And I feel like that's something that really showed over the weekend was the rush to be a reactionary and the rush to kind of for clout. And that's the one thing, like when you see Mercante tweet that stuff out, when you see this square painter tweet that stuff out, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for likes. They're looking for, hey, look at me, I'm edgy, look at how funny I am, look at how fun, instead of just like being able to take things, observe it, and being able to digest the data as it's coming in without having our feeling the need to go blah, 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 right. And I understand it's hard. It's hard, man. And as Roddy says, man, so many people pulled off their veils this weekend, right? They're just horrible, mean people, horrible people. Thanks, Flash, for that. Here is, by the way, here is the GoFundMe for, and once again, I don't know who set this up, Meredith O'Rourke. And that's where I'm always like a little like, when it comes to this stuff, you don't know who these people are. But this has currently raised $4 million for the person who died. And you see the recent donations, $50,000 from Rick and Ann Scott. $50,000. Raised $4 million so far for the person who passed away, getting shot in the head. But we're not done with the insanity from the response here. This is from Grums. And once again, Grums kind of like the, he's compared himself to like the libs of TikTok of the gaming space, just calling people out. This is a brand ambassador for Smite, and their name is Tempest Teacup. They have since locked their tweets. Says Tempest Teacup encouraged Trump shooter to try again since taken down and defends her beliefs with that the assassination attempt was fake. And when I went to check her page, she already had me pre-blocked prior to it. This was her tweet. If at first you don't succeed, right? So there we go. And once again, she is of the mindset. So this is so staged, and it's going to be very effective. To be clear, I absolutely believe the target of today's shooting would sacrifice his own supporters to further his candidacy. Well, this is how broken these people are. Like the idea that what she's saying, to be clear, to be 100% clear, I absolutely believe to the target of today's shooting, Trump, would sacrifice his own supporters to further his candidacy. I think that is the ultimate tragedy behind the Trump grift. He doesn't care about the people who have made him who he is. And there we go. At the time I made the initial tweet, I had seen that no one was seriously injured in the shooting. Knowing now that 2 died, I regret using flippant language. But I do not believe it is wrong to speculate that the potential the political implications of an assassination attempt.
Well, you've been calling for it for 4 years.
Right.
More than that, actually. Fucking people disgust me. It's Hollywood, gaming programmers, the entire entertainment industry. They've been calling for it for 8 fucking years.
To further that, we have this compilation of people talking about the violence, calling for violence of a presidential candidate, specifically Trump. It's from Breitbart. So he's shooting Trump. This is Snoop Dogg shooting Trump in the head for a music video. Kathy Griffin, of course, this one from back in the day, right? I'm interested to see kind of her response to this. Robert De Niro, want to punch him in the face. Madonna, I thought about the White House, right? Bette Midler, who has been nuts. Barbara Streisand, talking about Pelosi literally impaling him. Johnny Depp. When was the last time
on him?
Right. Deborah Messing, Jim Carrey, like go down the line, right? George Lopez, right? So the idea that this hasn't been a constant reoccurring theme is crazy to me. And whether it's the entertainment space or the gaming space, once again, you have these people who are in these hive minds. They are in these bubbles, and they don't see what's happening in the real world. They don't see it. They don't see the thousands of people that showed up in an open field to go see this guy speak. You know, they don't see the millions of people who believe in his message. And it's I will say this, man, and as when it comes to everything that's happened, that picture of him, I saw somebody speak about this. When it comes to what happened and the timing of this, everything happened very quick. You had about a 20-second window where these shots ring out. He gets hit, realizes he gets hit, goes down, gets covered by the secret, whatever it's called, and Secret Service. And in doing so, people, the question was, why is he sticking his head out? Afterwards, he gets up and he said, he's like, fight, right? People ask, why did he do that? Well, if you watch the audio of that, or if you watch the video and you listen to the audio, you hear the Secret Service say the suspect or the shooter is down, or whatever language they use, right? So at this point, Trump hears this in his head, and hears this. He knows that he's safe, which is why he's sticking his head out, saying, fight, fight, fight. Well, let's back up even further. This guy just got shot. He knows he's been shot. He sees the blood. He doesn't know that he is safe from the wound itself. And the fact that he stands up and has
I'm sorry to cut you off, but he got shot twice because there's a hole in his shirt. Like, he's wearing armor. He's got a bulletproof vest on. There's a hole. I can see if I can find it, but there's a hole in his shirt, a bullet hole. He got hit twice. He got hit in the ear, and he also got hit on his jacket. So that pierced his armor. I mean, the picture, the guy's rich. He's not going to run around with a hole in his, a bullet hole in his jacket. It has to be real. I don't think they've talked about it, but I mean, the picture is out there. I can try and find it.
No, I've seen the picture, but I wasn't sure if it had been confirmed or not. Right. But the idea that he's bleeding, he stands up, and once again, he could have been this could have been considerably worse, right? It nicks his ear, and he could have, at this point, he has not checked his face. He, like, a piece of his skull could have been ripped off, whatever, right? But he has the wherewithal, and it could be literally the last thing he says. Like, he could be dying because he's got adrenaline flowing through his body at this point. He is amped up, adrenaline going nuts. He stands up and he says, fight. And he's standing up, pumping his fist in front of people. And that could have been like the last thing that people saw from him, right? Like, because he could have been wounded, right? For all we know, he may have been shot somewhere else. He may not know, because he has this adrenaline pumping through his body at this time, right? And if that was like the last thing that people saw of him, I mean, holy crap. This has been said many, many times. The idea that he stood up, had the wherewithal to do this, but had he not moved his head at that exact moment, the world's changed in the last 48 hours, but the world would be the United States would be an entirely different space today than it would be right now, had he not moved his head. And I'm legit. It's crazy to think about how much the world would have changed had he not shifted his head at that exact same second, at that exact same time. And by whatever intervention that happened, it's almost scary to think about.
You'd have seen riots.
And the fact that not a single riot happened after this, I think says more than anything, right? That nothing happened after this. No one burned anything down. Nobody looted. Nobody, like, people waited for the fact. They're waiting for more information before a response, right? And you're right. I think that cities would have burned. I think that it's scary to think what would have happened if that would have hit. And So Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, he's over at the convention, and he said, I think his D-Day Cobra channel is going to just blow up, because that's what he talks about. He talks about Trump and everything like that leading up to this. But he's been like, look, the next few months are going to be crazy. I don't think anybody anticipated the idea that of just how crazy this would be. And we still have months leading up to this. And for me, I think it really comes down to this. You have one side that is praying that the other side's candidate makes it to the election. And then you have the other side that's literally trying to kill the other side's candidate to not make it to the election. And that's insane to me. I mean, it's very clear, as pointed out in the chat, that Secret Service failed dramatically,
big time,
in the situation.
We've been trying to look at that from Street View. We were doing that on Saturday, and how they don't see that guy. Like, there's allegations that Secret Service said don't take the shot. I don't know if that's true or not, right? But somebody screwed up. Why there was not a cop or somebody over on that building is mind-blowing to me. I also have that picture pulled up. People are saying it's a fold in the jacket. I don't know if that's true. Like, I'm just looking at the evidence myself. If you want to pull this up.
Sure.
For that bullet hole.
Yeah. It's
nothing that's going to get you in trouble.
Okay. Well, here it is right here. Here's the picture that we saw. So it appears there's a bullet hole in Trump's jacket. Like I said, it's all speculation at this point, and maybe that's a fold, whatever it may be, or a shadow or something.
There's more pictures down if you pull them up.
Okay.
With different coloring.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, hey, this is crazy to think about. But like I said, the world has changed.
It's not confirmed, to be fair, but it's everything about this is suspect. And you know what? People arguing about this is a good point to even bring up, because who do we trust for the official confirmation? The FBI, the same people that raided Mar-a-Lago, the people that have been up his ass. We're supposed to believe the people right under Biden, who recently said that he needs to be put in a bullseye.
I said when we started the show, this is a show that I was both excited for and also kind of dreading, right? Because
I don't trust the government, and I don't trust mainstream media at all.
I agree.
Did you see how they were reporting on this, where they were saying he ran off stage because of loud noises? Trump fell and was taken off stage. It's a real fucking headline from CNN.
Yeah.
I don't trust any of these people.
Yeah.
And they did that to themselves.
Well, and the idea now that it's time to calm things down, right? Like, okay, it's like somebody walking up and slapping you and being like, whoa, just relax. They slap the shit out of you and then they go, no, just relax, man, just relax. And I understand. I understand why people would be so heated about this. This is one of those events that you're going to remember exactly where you were.
Pull this up.
What's that? Okay, gotcha. But from a, let's see, what do we got here? Oh, yes. Thank God Elon bought Twitter, huh? Yeah. And
it should take you to, no, that's not it. Hold on.
Well, this does have a bunch of all the headlines. Is that what we're looking at?
A bookmark that I made, but specifically this. Yep, there it is. Yep. Those are real headlines.
Yeah, and that's
supposed to trust these people.
And maybe this is just me being totally ignorant and wanting to believe that these people are good people, right? Because a lot of information's coming quick.
They're not
But I
good
don't
people.
understand that.
You don't hate these people enough.
I know. And this is me. I get it, right? I want to see good in people, right? But and I'm trying to process everything here. Be the idea that this is happening 6 minutes ago, but at the same time, like, how do you watch that? You're watching the stream in real time. You're watching this in real time as it's happening. You hear these things happening. You see the blood.
It took them 6 hours to call it an assassination attempt. And there's I don't know if it was real or not, but somebody leaked out what they were telling their reporters to say, and one of it was don't use assassination. Don't use that wording.
Yeah. Safe after popping sound at rally. Okay. Yeah, what are we even doing? And I agree with you. I totally agree with you, and this is just me being a total asshole, because I want to believe these people are good people, but the reality is that they have an agenda, and you saw this in real time happening, and it hurts, man. It hurts to know that's how like messed up everything is, whether it's the media, whether it's people's responses to it, whether it's in the video game world, the entertainment world, or the mainstream media world. It hurts. It hurts that people are like this, and that you could champion the idea that somebody nearly died, and by the grace of God, they didn't get shot in the head by a fraction of a second, by the fraction of an inch. And the idea that you would cheer that on is just insane to me. And I would like to think that like I said, if the same thing happened, now look, I'm not ignorant in that I don't think that if it happened to Joe Biden, there wouldn't be edgelords out there making stupid comments like that, right? But I would like to think that people would at least take a second and try to ingest some of the data that's happening. Which, going back to this Elon and X, like, thank God that Elon Musk bought X, because there is a 0% chance that we would have seen that story as it was happening on the old version of X. Think about how sanitized that story would have been and would continue to be if it was under the previous leadership. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe it.
Did you see what was trending when that happened? One job.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things. I'll get it for you. Give me a second.
Oh, no, yeah, I hear that. The idea of, you had one job. You had, how could you miss, right? What a mess. What a mess. And like I said, I think that's the biggest thing for me is it's just really disheartening. And the idea that it goes back to, these are the people in your industry that are so broken, that hate somebody so much that they're rooting for his death, that they're upset that he didn't die. That's fucked up. And I feel sorry for them, that their lives are so consumed with so much hate that they can't move past it. And I think that's, it's just an even more sobering, eye-opening moment when it comes to this stuff. So, well, there we go. What do we got here? What is this? Oh, yes, the responses here, the things that were trending. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, here we go. This is what we had that was trending here. How do you miss? They missed. One job. Shooter. What a joke. What a joke. Once again, it's only going to get crazier, man. It's only going to get crazier. And if there's one thing that has been, you've seen the response from people, the idea that it's almost polarized people more, right? You've seen some people who who've seen what's happening, and they are they were kind of on the fence of things, or they had voted a certain way in the past, but after this, they've totally jumped over to the other side, and they're like, "Look, I can't stand this anymore." You know, you have seen a swell of people be more vocal after this. You know, and once again, it goes back to the idea that
they better start carrying more hot sauce around, because the black vote is pretty much moving towards Trump now, and it's been that way for a while. And it's nice to see finally people waking up to a lot of the bullshit.
Well, you know,
them watching him get railroaded by the legal system really hit home, and now seeing him almost get killed hits home. So that's a crucial vote.
Well, then you have, I mean, I don't even want to get into what Destiny was saying. Like, what an idiot. Like, I don't even want to get into that. But, you know, I did tweet this out. You're speaking of like the black vote, right? This has since been deleted. But I don't know how you can look at this and like, please just, I said this on X. I said, please walk me through this and tell me how this just isn't insanely racist, right? Will surviving gunfire be Donald Trump's next appeal to black voters? How unbelievably racist is that? I don't understand how you can get past that. What a joke. What a joke. There was some I don't even want to talk about him. An old business partner being a fucking idiot who's just filled with, you know, people talk about disinformation and everything. Like, what a fucking imbecile. I'm gonna say this: Deshaun Boland's a fucking idiot. That's all. All right. Well, you got anything to close it out?
It's disgusting. But the one good thing to come out of this is, I think, finally a lot of people are waking up. I saw a lot of posts on Twitter. One of them from this woman who graduated with I think a gender study degree, and all this shit has flipped her. And she's talking about how she's voting Trump now, and how back in 2012 or whenever it was that she graduated, she considers herself an idiot.
People asking about, like, you know, how about Dev Short Prairie Talk? I have not followed what he said about this whole thing. I don't know. So
he was posting some wild shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen any of his stuff. So like I said, I've tried to be as, you know, as connected while still being as unconnected as I possibly could over the last, you know, day or so. Because this is exhausting, and this is only going to get more exhausting as we go. You know, I can't imagine wanting to be in politics and like living in that life, because we're talking about games and entertainment on a day-to-day basis, right? And when the Venn diagram crosses over, right, and you have a world event like this, you know, it's a lot, man. It's a lot, and I think, you know, it goes back to, I, like so many people, have never been political people by any means, but you see the nonsense that's happening on a day-to-day basis, and you're like, yeah, that's not right. That's dumb. But what's going on with this? This doesn't make any sense. You know, there's this line of demarcation for a lot of people, and I think that what happened Saturday will be a line of demarcation for even more people.